Hello everybody, what's going on? Emo Tempest here, and we're wrapping up this season of Opus 20 cards with the latest deck that I've been using, probably something I used most of the season, Mono Earth. I've seen this deck pop up recently in a couple of, I guess, locals across the overseas, and yeah, I don't know, I should have talked about it sooner probably, but you know, we're wrapping up. Opus 21 is just about to be live, and you know, I thought I'd get this out to you so you could kind of see, because I kind of think this one will move into the next set just as well, just well enough anyway, that it should be a contender for some decks. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get right into this deck. I'm gonna go over the cards, card choices, then combos and plays, and then strategies and all that. So, we're going to start off with Leo. So Leo's kind of a funny card. We play 2 copies of him instead of 3. He gets 1000 power for every character you control, and your backups can produce CP of any element. This will allow us to play some of our stronger or weird strong cards with like Warrior of Light mostly, but it also helps us play, the Emperor or anything else that you can kind of tech into here as you go along. We used to have Larkishas in here. We had off-colored monsters like Cleone and other things, and Leo was the main thing to facilitate that. The original list I saw from Italy, some Italian tournament, France, one of those, played, I believe it was another Leo. It might have been like an error, but I'm pretty sure it was this one. But it did have a lot of off-color tech choices. Same thing with the Brian Berkeley list that I saw in the last Materia Cup. And then, after talking to Oki and Dylan, shout outs to them, of course, for getting me onto this list. I've realized that I don't need 3, because once you take out some of those other cards, you're able to just hold this into the Warrior of Light as you need it. But again, it's if you want to increase the tech cards, if you will, which we'll go over like flex picks later as well, you can go ahead and bump this up to 3. I'm playing a 3-1 split between these mirrors. This mirrors just kind of help you to scry and get your get into the deck faster, get the monsters out a little faster, because you want those numbers. Remember, you're ramping up characters for both Leo and Montleonis, so ways to get into that as quickly as possible. The monster deck also helps you, kind of close out the games later when you have your zombies and your behemoths and things like that. And it also is a lot of utility when you want to remove stuff when it comes to Monolith, Astroproto, and then Armin. So the mirror is just like a one of tech. Is a flex pick in my opinion, but later in the game this is a lot of recursion, and it helps very well with this deck. So I like it a lot. Kubranth, just your one of EX burst. Search your big guy. 5. Search for a forward of cost 5 or more. Your target's going to be Genova, Ignis, Shinryu, and Mont, of course. All very important pieces. The earlier this comes out, the more you're setting up for late game. The later this comes out, you're getting just exactly what you need to kind of make a big push in the game. I'm teching the one Emperor. This deck does really well in a value matchup against certain decks, but in decks where they can outvalue you because they have more options to get into the break zone, cards like Mist Dragon and Emperor were picks to kind of deal with that problem. So you can kind of force them to make their plays early, or just leave an Emperor floating while you're able to so you can get rid of their break zone, right? And then his effect is when he enters the field due to an ability, select one of the following 2 actions, right? So you have your options are for Montleonis, you have an Ifalna, and those 2 are able to help you trigger that as well. So it's just something to think about. You have other ways to trigger his ability rather than just, warp him in. So you have those options. You obviously save the mons for other things, but those are options, right? If you need to remove it, you don't have the Mist Dragon, etc. The Emperor. That's how we're gonna roll in through the Emperor. Warrior of Light. We just talked about the Leo. Warrior of Light's still a busted card. It's very hard for a lot of decks to deal with early on. So as it goes through game, you're playing these over and over again. It's tough, right, to get through them. So you can again cheat this in with Montleonis as well, with Ifalna, but we also hard cast it with Leo. Once you're on 5 backups, it's play Leo, play Wool, go. Genova Synthesis, since everything's Earth, you'll be able to deal the 8k. Again, another target for Montleonis to bring back, and you cannot if Alna this, unfortunately, but because you will only deal the 4,000, but it is something good for like just a hard cast when you need to clear a board. 8,000 is sometimes a little bit not enough sometimes, but in some of the more aggressive decks, it does just enough to clear the boards and help us out. I would say probably good against 6 as well. Some of the meta picks. This deck, I believe, was only playing 1 Ignis when I got it. I had to bump this up to 2. This card is too valuable. There's too much synergy where you are breaking your backup, getting a character back, playing another backup, and then you're kind of in like this nice little cycle, if you will, that you're able to just break backups, get cards back, play the cards from your break zone again, etc., etc. It needs 2. I wouldn't go to 3. The earlier you draw it, the worse it is, and then sometimes it's just good for hard removal as well. So the Shinryu is a very, very, very important meta pick this season. Like, it goes in any monocolor deck. It goes in almost every other deck as well. It's an on command search whatever you want with a board clear attached to it. In a deck like this, you don't actually feel like you're missing out when you're holding a few of these, because you have so many options with your other cards. So playing 3 is very casual. Trust me, you won't regret it. Other combos and synergies here is you could get this card back with Ignis and Luminous Puma. Allows you to do more S's in the future as you're going. You can also bring it back with no, you cannot bring it back with a Fauna, sorry. But those are ways for you to get your S's back onto the board. So a lot of things to think about. There's a game, even though I lost, I was able to S like 5 times, which is a lot, says a lot about the other deck I was playing. It was like an wind cast count deck, excuse me. But yeah, next is the Montleonis. Like I said, we have all these monsters, and on a good day, you're able to bring this guy down to 2 to 3 cost. On a really good day, he's free, but mostly he's going to be 2 to 3 or 4 to 5, like as you're slowing down. But it's pretty good when you have targets like bring back an Ignis to break something, then get something back, Genova to clear the board, Warrior of Light to start swinging, Emperor to remove, and so on and so forth. You have a lot of good options for this guy to do his thing. I've always loved this card. And also, if he lives long enough on your opponent's turn, he can block and then, hold him off even longer, which, because of his last effect, he kind of puts a shield on the next damage that you take will be 0. So it's something else to think about. Again, had to add the Mist Dragons into this deck. It does not... it helps a lot when you're able to stop an Amont, and it also helps a lot when you're able to, just stop the break zone, like your opponent's break zone, remove it from the game. That effect can always just swing a match in, like, from, 40 to 100%, like, in one turn. So, yeah, it's always a great card to have. We used to run Cleones, like I said. You would kind of... play the Leo, play a Cleone, and then kind of start setting up your turn after that. I found that it was a little restricting. I also found that it was easy to play around, and at some points, like, it didn't matter if we had summons or not. It's just like they don't need to really play them that much. It was really just a Mott that you're kind of holding on to, right? I'm still considering adding a Lael into this list just because, when Ignis is on the board, we can pop a Lael, get something back and kind of continue that cycle that we were talking about earlier. But, I've been playing so many decks, we don't make those little changes yet. But, yeah, Mist Dragon is very important, at least 2 of. Cards like, we have monsters now, the Behemoth, Gigas, Zombie, Demonolith, Aster, Armin, and Luminous Puma. The Behemoth is a good extra forward towards the end of the game. Also, between him and Gigas, it's a good way to slow down your opponent to kind of let you set up first. Or let you get to the setup at least, because sometimes it doesn't matter who sets up first, as long as you're able to set up, right? You have a lot of really good plays, good ways to go wide, and then good ways to close out in this game. But you need those extra turns to set up. And even if you're taking 1 damage a turn instead of 2 to 3, You know, that's where Behemoth and Gigas come in. You can slow down the assault every turn. Remember, they both say this, they say it differently, but it's the same thing. Choose a forward. It cannot attack or block until the end of the next turn, which means your opponent's turn. And this one says this forward cannot attack or block until the end of your opponent's turn. So again, the next turn. So this one's it's a little cheap. This one was also at 3 before, but we cut it down to make space for the Mist Dragons. But it's okay. We're still good here. The zombies now. Great way to get back your Mira and Leo. It's a good way to cycle CP. You can pitch once you set up your backups. You don't have to tap out to play these guys. You can pitch the Mira to play the zombie, get the Mira back. Same thing with the Leo. This is another reason why we're only playing 2 Leo, because we're able to get them back in theory when they die. The other combo, if you guys didn't know, is you can use Mira to make zombie. So let's go into it. Put Mira into the break zone, choose a monster. It gains this character cannot be broken until the end of the turn. So you make zombie forward. He will block. He can block for the rest of the turn, and he will stay there. He will not die at the end of the turn. So very good strategy, very good wall. Again, you're looking for ways to kind of hold off your opponent and make them help set them up, or help buy you time to set up so you can do all of the things you want to do. I'll tell you, there's a few matches where zombie helped just sat there and blocked Estinian. You know, the Estinians couldn't get through him. It was great. He sits there. Estinian was at 28 and it didn't matter. But yeah, Demonolith. You got a lot of big guys here. When Wool's out, or the Ignis and Genova and so on and so forth, you can just use them to punch one of the other guys. Remember, this is just a shoot. Their power, they do not fight. And if need be, he can scry later when you're kind of digging for stuff. But again, we want to keep that count high, that character count high for Mount Leonis. Next is Astro Proto. Just sometimes a quick forward break, sometimes both a forward and a backup in certain situations. When you're kind of fully set up, it doesn't feel so bad to pitch one card from hand. You can tap out to do a forward or the backup, and then just pitch an extra card. Usually you'll have an extra backup by then, and then you're able to get rid of whatever you need. Armin, again, just straight removal, and again, easy to play when you have easy to make a forward when you have Warrior of Light, Emperor, Genova, Shinryu, Ignis out. Any one of those cards can trigger him. Even Leo, when you have enough characters, he's able to, trigger, make him a forward on command. So, a lot of ways to, utilize him. Again, between him, the Behemoths, and Zombie, you have a lot of lingering forwards there that'll kind of help you push for game. The way Mono Water does as well. These days, just kind of sits there on their monsters, gets you to 3 or 4, and then just kind of push for damage, or has lethal always looming around. The Luminous Pumas just, again, helps you get certain pieces back whenever you need them, kind of be able to replay a lot of things if games go on a little long. Again, I like the Mira Luminous Puma loop. You at damage 5, you'll play Mira. It plays Luminous. Luminous will get you something else. We'll let Mira die. We'll get Mira back, and then do it again. Little loop cycles there. That's all. The backups are pretty straightforward. We have 2 Geomancers here to kind of help ramp, also to draw in later cases, like it always is. Animist, being able to search or get a monster out, sometimes very important. It's a good way to trigger other effects too. Like if you don't want to pop, you can have Ignis. If you have Ignis out, you can, get a monster out, get a forward out, search, get a card back from the break zone, and then trigger your effects or whatever. Falna, again, just a great way to play someone back. Same thing, Ignis is there. Great way to get Leo or Mira back. You have really cheap cards here to, so you don't have to use a lot of CP to do anything, to do that. So a 1-cost target is very, very, very easy to get away with on this one. Leatherworker, we talked about, just quick way to slap backups down ramp. Epitaph, quick synergies. You have Clara searches for King, gets you Kolka or Epitaph. Epitaph will get you Mira or Leo's. Kolka, if you go to Clara's Kolka will get you, pretty much anything else except Shinryu. I have a 1 of Beastmaster just because sometimes I don't want to waste the search for the Warrior of Light. So this was also good when we had the some of the other tech cards. So it searches for lightning or water. Again, we talked about a Cleone. It was a great way. I took out the Cleone and I added this. I had them in there for a little while together because, you know, I wanted to make sure I got those cards out of my deck. I don't want to draw off colors. So being able to go right to them is helpful. Mostly I took out the Cleone now, and so it always goes straight to the Warrior of Light. And so it's a great way to just, you know, turn 2, get it ready, and then now we're just waiting to search the Leo, and then we're set to go to pop off. Miner, again, something that's breakable to draw a card, but also helps you get there. So again, you might miss it, you might not. When you don't, it feels even better. I've gone from, I went minor to minor into minor ones. It was great. I regret nothing. It's when you get those hands, when you get those like that momentum, it's great. And then even though you send everything else to the bottom, we have a lot of searching in this deck, so it's not a big deal. What's important, again, is top priority is getting those backups up to get your numbers up. We talked about Kolga and Claris, and of course the one Shantoto, just in case we need, you know, if they decide to go wide early and you're able to play it comfortably, then, you know, Shantoto is always a great card. I keep it at 1 because, you know, chaos is always a thing, something to be worried about. And in a deck like this, even though we have the monster options, a free chaos is still never something I want to do comfortably, like deal with comfortably. So, like, you know, the Shantoto is always in the back of my mind, just keeping it at 1 now instead of 2. But yeah, guys, that's the main deck. That's everything. Your flex picks are going to be the second Mira, the Emperor. The Mist Dragons are up to you. I've backed given you my theories on them. Obviously, you play this game yourself. You know how important, you know, break zone removal is. The other effects are always just optional and, you know, utility whenever you might need them. But you know, yes, we can cancel the Amat with this. Yes, we can prevent my guy from taking X damage if we really need him to. But it's really just that break zone removal that gives this deck some trouble in the in some of its matchups. And the last one is going to be the Beastmaster. I mean, obviously you can mess with the backups as you please. Beastmaster and Geomancer probably like your best options. I think the rest is kind of like even Shantoto if you want to take it out. But again, this was my idea to kind of do a quick run into the wool so I don't have to search it. And so it helps. It has its purposes. It doesn't matter if you don't play it or not. It's the deck is still fully functional otherwise. So, you know, I've thought about playing other cards in there too, like the Gladiator that we like, just the one that lifts itself up, play it again, and you know, give everyone 3k in Brave or 5k in Brave or something at damage 5, things like that, right? Like, you can obviously make changes as you go, but this was what I've been playing with. This was what I've had success with at locals, at my, you know, playing games, online webcam games. I think it's like I had like 7 to 8 matches won on main deck. You know, got a lot of games in at locals as well. I think I only came in second with it a few times. Not I don't think it won any. I can't remember now. It's been the whole season, but yeah, that's the list. Those are the combos. Worst matchups are Ice Lightning. It's just, especially when they discard a lot and they go aggro, it's hard to keep up. And then obviously, like, I guess a Wind Storm deck, they outvalue us, like, ridiculously. Everything else we can play into. We can adjust. We can accommodate. Those are your 2 worst matchups. If you have a lot of that at your locals, maybe don't play this. If you don't, give it a try. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you like the lines. If you make changes, make sure to share those with me as well. And anyone else, I hope you like it. Hope you enjoyed it. Going into Opus 21, we have a new Ingus, right? He's gonna fit perfectly in this list. And also I probably should have tried Antilion, which is the Opus 20 monster. Yeah, him and Ignis, very strong. Should have tried him sooner. I might still go back into again. I'm sharing this now because this deck is going to go really well into the next meta. I think the Earth cards are always great. Finally, we have a mono Earth deck that works. Shinryu and, you know, the Mirror Zombie thing is fantastic. So yeah, do with it what you will. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and